Hey guys, Ron here. Welcome to yet another deck profile. I'm getting on these finally. Whoop whoop! This time with a little bit better lighting. So sorry about the lighting on my Gridora video. I really just didn't have any other time to film that, and yeah, it ended up being the way that it was. But thank you guys so much for all the likes, comments, and questions that you left on that video. I was super glad to see that people were actually interested in what I had to say about it. So thank you so super much about that. Today, we are going to be showcasing NeoNectar, specifically the Ahsha build, and as you can see, I have my shiny trial deck starter. I chose not to go in on any of the SP stuff for this, because NeoNectar is like my second clan, so I love the shinies, and I will gladly take shinies, but, you know, it's not my everything. So, getting into the deck profile, of course you're going to want your shiny force markers. Most of the time I see myself going force 2 in this deck, but there have been a couple occasions where my grade 2 game was strong and I just went force 1 to add extra pressure with my Vanguard. So there will be that. Of course, never forget your tokens. You're going to need both the plant token and the Ahsha's flower fairy token. Her whole thing is that she copies your Vanguard's name and then copies the power and critical of your Vanguard. So the whole deck is based around that, because it's just an interesting mechanic that I enjoy very, very much. And they made a stride that goes along with it, so I said, screw it, we're doing it. Of course, thank you to M. Cole Games for the beautiful playmat. This mat came out when Ahsha came out, and well, I just haven't really used it for anything other than Ahsha stuff. So let's get into the grade 3s. I'm running 4 Dream Spinning Ranunculus Ahsha. Her ability is super effective. Mostly we use it for the second ability of act once per turn, Soul Blast 1, retire 2 rear guards, and call a flower fairy token to rearguard circle. But if you do the ride up and you have, let's say you ride up on your opponent and you want to add extra crits to your Vanguard, you can make it a 3 critical attack on ride up, which means basically you can damage deny your opponent. And also, rip SVRs. You were so freaking pretty. I wanted to see SVR Gridora so bad. That would have been cool with the gold border. Anyways, the other grade 3 I'm running is the trial deck Ranunculus Flower Maiden Ahsha, all shiny, of course. We use her a lot for the calling of 2 plant tokens and then the power plus 10k, and then she can also create a flower fairy token. So, pretty good stuff. Grade 3s. That's it. Very easy to get around. Grade 2s, of course, there's quite a few more. We're running 4 Pansy Musketeer Sylvia. She's just on place, create a plant token. It's pretty free, makes your grade 2 game a lot stronger. Secondly, we're running 4 Osmanthus Maiden Anelma, and she's actually extremely interesting in this deck, because she has the first ability of Vanguard Circle, Rearguard Circle, Counterblast, Soul Blast when placed, draw a card and call a plant token. So Sylvia, but with a cost. And then second ability of Continuous Rearguard Circle. If you have a Rearguard on your Rearguard Circle with the same card name as your grade 3 or greater Vanguard, all of your units get boost. So you're on Ahsha, you have a fairy token, every unit gets boost. That's pretty dope, so I enjoy that. That has come into play. The first effect is really the better effect though, because you get to draw off of it. Running 4 genuine maiden Farine. Would you shut up? Farine. I'm gonna call her that. Farine. She is when placed if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, call up to 1 plant token to rearguard circle, and one of your Vanguards gets power plus 5,000. I'm mostly running her for her G-Guard usability, and I will explain that in a minute, or in a little bit rather. Same thing goes for Antero, but I actually have a second use for Antero. He's a 5k grade 2 with rearguard circle when placed. One of your Vanguards gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn for each of your token units. The surprising reason I've been running Antero is there are matchups where you want to damage deny your opponent early game. So riding Antero and being on that 5k base and then having a plant token called to your back row already from your grade 1 ride will make it so you can swing with 5k if you hit a trigger, give all effects to your plant token, deal no damage, and then ride up and swing with a 3 critical Vanguard. It's pretty scary. And then lastly, running Spiritual Tree Sage Earman Soul, who is when placed, if you have 2 or more grade 0 rear guards, counterblast 1, draw a card, all of your units in the same column get power plus 5k until end of turn. So I'm going to put these to the side because I have extra uses to explain with them about, and put these to this side because I do not. Getting into the grade 1s, I'm running 4 Padmini. You definitely want to see Ahsha, and you definitely want to see other Ahsha, as, well, they just both come into play all of the time in every game. And getting extra rides to get extra Force 2s is pretty useful. And then a 13k booster early game is really easy to get. Secondly, running 4 Maiden of Sweetberry. She is just so free. Plant token, a soul charge, plus 5k, 13k booster. Like, who the frick decided this was a single rare? Really good ability, really good card. And then lastly, we're running 2 Budding Maiden Diane. She's just draw and drop and draw, and then plus 5,000 to a grade 3 Vanguard. So I thought she was pretty useful. She has been pretty useful, as a matter of fact. So been enjoying her. Grade 0 lineup, this is where it starts to get a little more confusing than just a standard plus deck, honestly. 4 Maiden of Blossom Rain, draw PGs. I stopped running Lilga the second they got rid of Katrina, because Katrina was just the easiest way to tutor those out, and, well, she's gone. 2 more extra draws, Neighborly Knight, Boris, because 6 draws is pretty useful. 4 Fairy Light Dragon. Of course, you want to run 4 V heal triggers. None of them are shiny, sadly, but it's okay. I survive. 1 Chestnut Bullet, because he's my shiny critical. He's beautiful. I got this from my first trial deck, and I was super excited. 2 Night Queen Musketeer Daniel. And then, as you can tell, there's 3 more triggers, but I'm running Maiden of Daybreak. She's a stand trigger that can go back to your deck, and the biggest reason I've been running her is because swing 3 critical, swing Vanguard. Oh my gosh, I got a stand trigger, restand a 3 critical rearguard. What the freak? How is that legal? So it's just to apply extra pressure and make my opponent more scared of the stand triggers, because they will know if I put them back to deck. So getting into the G-Zone, my pink G-Zone, very, very shiny. These first 3, Entrancing Flower Princess Sandrine. She's the new Stride. G-Zone, if this card is face down and your opponent's your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, counterblast 1, retire 2 token units, and stride this card on your Vanguard circle. This unit gets power plus 10,000 and plus 1 critical. So, if you're on Force 2, she is a 38k 3 critical Vanguard, which is actually a really scary magic number to hit, because, I mean, crits are terrifying, Vanguards are terrifying, and, you know, it's just a very useful thing to do. So, of course, if you somehow manage to whiff and see literally none of your deck for some reason, and do not have any token units, you can do Lieta instead, to basically just search your deck for some stuff from your soul, and, you know, just kind of go from there. Thirdly, I'm running 2 Velhamina. Sometimes you just can't get the Fairy Flower token. You don't have the soul charge, you don't have an extra ride, but you can stride. So you just stride into her, give your rearguards extra crits, and make your opponent a little more scared for their life. Pretty useful. It's come into play once or twice, I think, but definitely a good thing to have in your G-Zone because, well, we don't run Katrina anymore, and we have a lot of free slots, because Sandrine is, like, the way to go right now. 1 Sacred Tree Dragon, Breakweather Dragon. He has the ability to countercharge, draw a card, and soul charge when you return, or when he returns to the G-Zone. So basically, you can stride him, have 2 plant tokens, stride her, and then he goes back to the G-Zone. You get a little bit of plussing and a better stride, and, you know, it's pretty useful sometimes. 1 Air Element Sabreeze. This is literally just because you have one of the better grade 2 games in the game, and I don't believe it'll come in handy very often, but it's still a decent card to have. So I am a firm believer in having this card. So definitely a good thing. 3 of Bond Protector, Musketeer, and Tarot. Just a heads up, these 3 cards are going to be your main Soul Blast eaters, because Antero is just like a huge G-Guard. He is a 35k shield, which is really big. But he costs a Soul Blast, so definitely something you should have more than 1 copy of in your G-Zone. Next we have Sacred Tree Dragon, Rain Breath Dragon. This card I will set aside because it has uses with all of these, but it's a definite useful card. And you can do the same thing with Costarina, but Costarina gets a bit more shield power. Lastly, I'm running 1 Inverno, who is basically excuse me, basically this guy, but with a little bit different effect. She also costs a Soul Blast. I've gone into both. This is sometimes like, oh, I'm just out of resources and I can't do her this turn, so I'm just going to go into... Or rather, I can't counterblast to Stride this turn, so I'll go into her, free up a counterblast, and then Stride. So, getting into these G-Guards real quick. The grade 2s that you can use with them, because these, on place on Guardian Circle, call stuff to your field. If you have the open counterblast and you go into Rain Breath Dragon, you can call Airman Soul behind your Vanguard, counterblast 1, draw a card, and give your Vanguard power plus 5,000. So your Vanguard will be an 18k base during your opponent's turn. And Tarot does something very different. He gives your Vanguard plus 5,000 for each of your token units. So assume you have, let's say, Plant Token, Ahsha's Flower Fairy Token. You G-Guard with this idiot, call him to Rearguard Circle, and suddenly your Vanguard gets plus 15,000. So she's a 28k base on your opponent's turn. Very, very useful. And this one I've actually used a lot more. When place of your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, call 1 plant token and your Vanguard gets power plus 5,000 until the end of turn. I think that Farine is actually the most useful one, because she's just the easiest to get off. I mean, like, let's talk about this. You have to have a counterblast. You have to have tokens on your field. You just have to have her in your hand, you know? So, you call her, you get another token. She gets, let's say you use Rain Breath Dragon. She gets power plus 5,000 shield, so she's a 10k intercept. You get a plant token. Your Vanguard gets plus 5k. So your Vanguard is an 18k base. You can make it 28k. And you're already G-Guarding for 15k shield. I know it's like extremely different from the Katrina build, but like, this is where I'm at with the deck. I actually really enjoy the defensive build. So anyways, all in all, this deck is by no means a top tier deck. It is definitely an interesting deck to play, and can sometimes scare the crap out of your opponent because they'll have PTSD from Best Girl Katrina. You know, it happens. It really does. Sometimes you'll just see they're playing NeoNectar and be like, oh my gosh, she's gonna kill me! But then you remember that Katrina got banned, and they're like, okay, actually, I don't know what they're supposed to do. What are they gonna do? Do the Ahsha thing with the new Stride? Yes, that's exactly what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna build in some defensive capabilities so that I can last a little bit longer and have more crits on my Vanguard and deal extra damage and sometimes restand my rearguards. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments about this deck profile, just go ahead and, you know, leave them in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to respond to them. Also, Padmini has the best art. Like, no argument. I love Padmini's art so much. It's so pretty in this triple rare foiling. Beautiful card. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice night.